Welcome everyone. My name's Janine. It's my privilege to lead you around a time of communion. If you'd like to get something to represent the emblems, some bread or dry biscuit to represent the body of Jesus, some grape juice or some red cordial to represent his blood, we'll take those emblems later on. But first of all, I'm going to read something to you. I've put together a section of scripture that's taken from each one of the Gospels and then combined so that we can see the big picture of the scene that's taking place. It's where the soldiers are sitting at the base of the cross. They've just put Jesus on the cross, and now they're sitting there with Jesus's garments and they're looking at what to do with them. And it says, "And sitting down, they began to watch over him there," meaning Jesus. "They divided his garments among themselves, casting lots for them to decide what each man should take. They then took his outer garment and made 4 parts, a part for every soldier, and also the tunic. Now the tunic was seamless, woven in one piece. So they said to one another, 'Let's not tear it, but cast lots for it to decide whose it shall be.' This was to fulfill the scripture, 'They divided my outer garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots.'" That's found in Psalms 22 verse 18, the prophetic utterance that they fulfilled. This moment is just a snippet of the attitude of the soldiers wanting to take a piece of whatever was left over of value that Jesus had. And so his outer garment, they divided it up into the 4 pieces and gave each of the soldiers part of that outer cloak. But the inner robe, the inner garment that Jesus had was a beautiful piece, a beautiful garment. It was woven in one piece. It had no seams. It would have been of great value and very unique and very special. And so they cast lots as to who was going to get that garment. Now, Jesus was about to go through the most horrendous time on the cross. In fact, it had started even prior to that with the whipping and the beatings and the hitting and punching that had taken place and the spittings and all those things that are definitely not pleasant, and all the mocking that took place. He was going through a time where his outer body, his outer garment, if you like, as a person, was being destroyed. We're made up of 3 parts. We're made up of a body, a soul, and a spirit. And our body is our outer garment. It's the thing that covers who we really are, the spirit man that's inside, and the person who's got their emotions and everything, and their memories, the soul part of the person. Now, Jesus's outer garment was being torn apart. It was being destroyed. It was being, they say his back was like hamburger meat, historians reckon, with all the lashes he would have got, and the pottery shards that were tied in the end of the whip would have just torn at him and destroyed his back. His face, they hit him many times, stuck the thorns around his head, which would have punctured and caused bleeding from there. And of course, the trauma of being put on the cross with the nails in the hands and the feet, and the weight of his body putting pressure on the nails of the cross. And his outer garment, his outer body was certainly being destroyed and ruined. But he had to bear that. He had to allow that to happen, to take our place, to bear our punishment, and to be destroyed by sin and by the results of the wages of sin being taken place in his body. But his inner garment, his inner person, was still intact. And we know that because in the time of his death, he went down to hell and he took the keys of death and hell from the devil, and he triumphed over the devil during that time. So his inner man, his spirit man, was still alive. It was victorious over death and over the situation. And so this garment fighting, it was prophesied and right back in Psalms to be fulfilled at that particular time, because it had relevance, and it was trying to make a statement that Jesus's outer body was to be destroyed, but the inner man was still to be full of life. And that's because we also are to have that enter into us. We eventually pass along into death, and our outer man decays, but our inner man will always remain in life. In fact, abundant life is available to us, that we can have that eternal and abundant life because what Jesus has done for us. So let's thank him and celebrate that abundant life that we have available through what Jesus did for us. Let's partake of the emblems. Jesus, we thank you that you allowed your outer body to be destroyed by sin for us, to bear our punishment. But your inner man, your spirit man, was triumphing over death itself and defeated death. And we thank you for that you did it for us, that we might also walk triumphant and in abundant life. We thank you for that. Amen. Be blessed.